Star Wars, Young Jedi Knights, Darkest Night, Chapter 8. Surrounded by dimness in his private office, lit only by recorded starlight from distant parts of the galaxy, Baracus contemplated the plans of the Second Imperium. Time slipped away from him as he allowed himself to be swallowed up in his thoughts. Possibilities for conquest engrossed him, and he ran them over in his head, contemplating the complete destruction of the rebels and his former mentor, Luke Skywalker. Such imagining soothed him. Resting his elbows on the polished brass deck, Baracus touched his fingertips together and smiled. Suddenly, a startling signal destroyed his concentration like a thunderbolt. The potent alarm pulsed again, and he used his much-needed Jedi skills to calm himself. "This is Baracus," he responded. "Quarrel here," a voice replied. An image appeared on the flat-screen communicator built into his desk. The old TIE pilot seemed rattled, and surprised Baracus even more than the alarm had. Quarrel was one of the steadiest officers in the Second Imperium. "We have a coded message coming into the Shadow Academy, sir. It carries the highest level of encryption. Every marking indicates that the transmission is of utmost importance. You must receive the transmission yourself and respond personally."
No!
Baracus blinked. Any indication of the settler's identity? His thoughts whirled. Tamiki Kai and Zeke had already departed on their mission to defeat, but even they were incapable of sending such a high-level message. "No indication," Force said, "but I would recommend that you respond without delay." "I'm on my way," Baracus said, and switched off, propelling himself out of his chair and went full motion. He raced through the curved metallic corridors, taking the automated lift platform from the transmitting and receiving tower, which contained the machinery that classic poking field around the spike-ringed station. Several stormtroopers stood alert as Baracus swept into the transmitting tower. Quarrel worked at the receiving control, scanning computerized readouts and recording the coded signal. Baracus noted that the man used his biological right hand, letting his bulky robotic limb hang motionless at his side. Quarrel blinked at the Shadow Academy leader. "They have begun transmitting again, Lord Baracus," he said. "They seem quite impatient." "All right, let's input the decryption routine." Standing beside Quarrel, Baracus had to think for a moment to summon the correct stream of symbols and numbers. Then keyed his password so the Shadow Academy computers could translate the high-level coded message. Quarrel handed Baracus a dangling headset. "The message is for your ears only. Listen on this channel." Quarrel helped Baracus mount the earphones and the microphone smugly against his head. Baracus listened to the crackle of the static as the convoluted message ran through the code deciphering algorithms and finally resolved itself into coherent words. The voice pounded against his eardrums, harsh, almost reptilian, dripping with evil. Baracus' eyes widened, then fear drove a spike through his mind. He cleared his throat twice before he could respond. "Yes, my lord," he finally answered. "Yes, at once." He drew a deep breath to continue, but the sender terminated the signal. Baracus heard only static. He stood rigid, using all of his Jedi strength to keep himself from trembling. Quarrel waited beside him, leathery face motionless, his eyes unblinking. Only a slight furrow across the TIE pilot's forehead showed how concerned he was. Baracus spoke quietly, looking at Quarrel, but knowing that the stormtrooper guards were also listening intently. "The Emperor," he said hoarsely. "The Emperor is coming here." An anonymous transport shuttle dropped out of hyperspace in the vicinity of the Shadow Academy. The shuttle was an Imperial design, the Emperor's private escort ship, armored with tarnished hull plates. Its configuration is similar to the triangular Lambda-class transport, except this craft bore very special weaponry, sensing devices, and ultra-powerful hyperdrive. Even with such extreme modifications, though, were of little consequence when compared to the importance of the passenger it carried. Baracus stood within the hangar bay, struggling to drive back his anxiety. In all this time, he had never met the Emperor face to face, despite his unwavering service to the Second Imperium. The great leader of the Second Imperium, Emperor Palpatine, must somehow have escaped death years earlier, though Baracus had been sure the Emperor had been destroyed, several times in fact. She did not know what secret Palpatine had used or how he managed to restore himself to life, but Baracus didn't care. All that mattered was the Second Imperium was the most capable hands imaginable. The buzz calmed, and Quarrel's voice made an announcement. Lord Brachus, the Emperor's private transport has just come out of hyperspace. I await your orders. Brachus leaned closer to the wall speaker. Very well. Drop the Shadow Academy's cloaking field and transmit our greetings to Emperor Palpatine. We are honored by his visit. Yes, sir, Quirrell said, signing off. Brachus could feel no difference, not even through the force, as the invisibility shield dissolved around the station. He stood with an honor guard of stormtroopers inside the clear document. The transparent atmosphere containment field flickered. Brachus stared out into open space, watching the awesome craft approach. The stormtroopers stood more rigidly, their armor locking in place, boots clicking together. The Emperor's transport followed Quirrell's signal. The three-bladed shuttle glided through the atmosphere containment field, which flickered and sparked as it folded around the hull of the ship. The Imperial transport coasted to the center of the broad deck, then lowered itself into a stable position. Brachus swallowed a large lump in his throat. He transmitted to Quirrell. Reactivate the cloaking shield, please. We don't want to expose ourselves any longer than necessary. It is done, sir, Quirrell said. The stormtroopers shouldered their weapons and stood in perfect ranks. Brachus stepped forward to offer greeting, but paused when nothing happened. The Emperor's transport remained silent except for a few hissing and ticking sounds as the ship settled. He saw no movement inside. The hatch remained stubbornly shut. Brachus waited for any sign. Finally, a voice boomed from loudspeakers mounted outside the Emperor's shuttle. Attention all Shadow Academy personnel. The Emperor has survived. As a security precaution, we insist that everyone depart the docking bay immediately. The Emperor has a private escort of Imperial guards and wishes no further contact at this time. The announcement took Brachus completely by surprise. When he noticed that his mouth was hanging open in foolish astonishment, he closed it so quickly that his teeth clicked together. The Emperor had come to the Shadow Academy, and now Palpatine refused Brachus' honor escort. The great leader wanted to be left alone. Brachus realized he had hesitated following Palpatine's instructions. Aghast and trying to make for lost time, he turned and clapped his hands smartly. You heard the orders. Everyone, about face. Clear the docking bay. The Emperor wishes his privacy. The stormtroopers turned, and with a booming clatter on the metal deck, marched out of the docking bay into the curved quarters. Sir, one of the stormtroopers said, breaking ranks to stop in front of Brachus. I had requested to be part of the Emperor's personal escort squad. I'll stay here to greet him as he disembarks. Brachus blinked in shock, noting the stormtrooper's service number. He recognized Quirrell's trainee Nori. Quirrell had said the burly young man was ambitious and ill-tempered, but Brachus had none less stunned at impertinence. You will follow my orders, trooper, Brachus snapped. The Second Imperium has no room for those who don't understand discipline. He withdrew a cold breath. If I see any further insistence of your failure to obey commands, you will be ejected from the airlock into space. Is that understood? As Nori clomped off without acknowledging Brachus' rebuff, the master of the Shadow Academy turned to look back at the silent Imperial shuttle. He himself was unable to comprehend why the Emperor had come, as he had no intention of interacting with the Shadow Academy, or at least meeting Brachus personally. However, the Emperor was the ultimate master, and Brachus would not dare question Palpatine's orders. The last one to leave the docking bay, he turned with a swirl of his silvery robes and stepped outside before transmitting the signal that closed and sealed the doors to the docking bay. As he stood on the outer corridor, though, Brachus made a decision of his own. He was master of the station, and he was required to know what happened aboard, wasn't he? He had followed the Emperor's wishes to the letter. Now he needed to know what was going on. Brachus went to the video monitor designed for observation of docking and loading procedures. With the docking bay empty of stormtroopers and Shadow Academy representatives, the hatches finally opened on the Emperor's shuttle. On the monitor, Brachus was impressed to see 4 Imperial guards shrouded in scarlet robes. The intimidating Red Guards had been the most feared elite corps of Emperor's Palpatine forces, and now 4 of them had accompanied the Emperor here. Smooth red armor covered their heads and shoulders like cowls, reminding him of the historical images he had seen of ancient Maldorian uniforms. The red Imperial Guards moved away from the ship and took up defensive positions, their robes flowing like flames around them. A shudder ran down Brachus' spine. He tried to feel the immense dark force crackling from the core of the Emperor's transport ship. The Emperor, he knew, must be in there somewhere. Through the voice pickup mounted in the docking bay, Brachus heard a clanking, slamming sound. Two pairs of squat, powerful worker droids tromped down the wide, extended ramp, carrying an enormously heavy isolation chamber. The worker droids, little more than powerful arms and legs mounted to a stocky body core, hauled their burden without complaint. The droids were gentle with their cargo, moving smoothly. Despite the immense power of their hydraulic wings, they carried this huge tank off the Imperial ship and into the docking bay. Side panels of the isolation chamber's black riveted walls blinked with multicolored lights. Computer displays showed life monitors and external communication. The 4 red guards surrounded the chamber, looking proactive and menacing. When they marched toward the broad doors, 2 in front of the chamber, 2 behind, into the main floor of the Shadow Academy. Ruckus hurried to open the doors for them, but somehow a computer-locked seals were automatically broken before he could do so. The doors slammed shut as if controlled by the Emperor's dark side powers. The red guards strode forward, still surrounding the worker droids. The huge isolation tank hissed and buzzed and bleeped 1,000 electronic systems monitored supremely important occupant. Ruckus stopped in front of the foremost pair of Imperial guards. "Greetings! I am Master Brackus of the Shadow Academy." The leader of the Red Guards turned his armored head, and Brackus felt with cold scrutiny through the black eyelids. "You will leave us alone. We have important work. We require privacy. You may guide us to our chambers, and then leave." Brackus could barely contain his dismay. "But I am the Master of the Shadow Academy," the Red Guard said, "and the Emperor is Master of the Galaxy. He wishes privacy for now. We suggest that you do not displease him." Brackus backed away, bowing quickly. "I have no wish to displease the Emperor. Forgive my intrusion." After Brackus indicated the quarters to which the visitors had been assigned, the plushest and most spacious accommodations aboard the station, the Red Guards and workers marched into the corridor, leaving Brackus alone and out in the corridor. He felt belittled, insignificant, stepped on, as if all his accomplishments and work meant nothing to the Emperor. It baffled him. What could be the purpose of it? He frowned as his thoughts whirled inside his head. The Emperor had originally died in the destruction of the second Death Star, but 6 years later, after his defeat, Palpatine had been resurrected in a series of clones, which had also been presumably destroyed. Now, after observing the isolation tank, the secrecy, the implacable behavior of the 4 Imperial guards, Brackus felt a new and deeper fear pulling through his body. He wondered if something could be wrong. If the Emperor could be, perhaps, in failing health again. If that was the case, the Second Imperium was indeed in great trouble.